Coming up next on This Week in Torrance, he's walked in space and he recently walked into a Torrance middle school. We'll tell you about this astronaut's special visit. Then Torrance police forego technology for their latest form of outreach. Plus, car enthusiasts get revved up at a family event. And these warbirds are coming to the Torrance airport. We'll tell you how you can see them up close and up in the air. These stories and much more just seconds away. Your local news starts right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Torrance. I'm Ben McCain. Here are your top stories. For the second year in a row, Cal State Fullerton is the top California school to award bachelor's degrees to Hispanics. A new study found that almost 2,000 Hispanics earned their bachelor's degrees at Cal State Fullerton. That's number 4 on a list of 100 colleges trying to reduce the Latino college dropout rate nationwide. Hispanics make up the fastest growing ethnic population in the state, but only about half graduate from high school. Cal State Fullerton gets federal grants to boost its Latino enrollment to more than a quarter of the student body. Here are some highlights from the most recent City Council meeting. Lon Littlefair was honored by Council for his contributions to Torrance youth. Littlefair was integral to helping build the American Youth Soccer Organization, or AYSO, in 1964. The AYSO had 9 teams with 4 teams in Torrance. Littlefair was the organization's first commissioner. He retired in 1975 after AYSO had grown to more than 24,000 teams. Today, AYSO has more than 50,000 teams and more than 650,000 players. CitiCABLE's own Hope Witkowski, along with Edith Stieglitz and Marcy Toguchi, were all Older Americans Award recipients. Stieglitz is a volunteer at Focal Point on Aging. Toguchi has served as a Torrance Transit Ambassador since 2007. And after 2 successful terms as a council member, Hope Witkowski is now the host of Senior Scene, right here on Torrance CitiCABLE. All 3 women exemplify citizenship and the spirit of volunteerism among seniors. Saturday, May 12th, is Fire Service Day in the city. Residents are invited to visit any one of the 6 Torrance firehouses between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. on May 12th to learn more about how our first responders keep the community safe. Saturday, May 12th, is also Letter Carrier Food Drive Day. Torrance residents are invited to participate by leaving unopened non-perishable food items near their mailbox. Letter carriers will pick up the items during his or her regular delivery schedule. The collected food will then be delivered to the local AFL-CIO food bank for dispersal to people in need in the community. Albertsons Supermarket will also have a donation site that will go towards the food drive. And just what should the top of the time capsule say? Well, that agenda item was discussed last week, but nothing was decided. After staff explored wording and layout modifications, they presented their options once again at Council. 16 inches in diameter, the lid will utilize the city seal and will read Torrance Centennial Time Capsule, dedicated September 16th, 2012, reopened during Bicentennial 2112. And the first of 2 public budget hearings took place during the meeting. The Finance Department presented a balanced budget. They presented several options to Council that could change how the department balanced the budget. Some of those options include human resources restructuring, reallocating library personnel, and changing some park services shifts. No action was taken by the Council. There is another budget hearing next Tuesday, May 15th. Many car collectors depend on Edelbrock parts for their prized possessions, and a learning center depends on Edelbrock for their annual fundraiser. Reporter Jay-Z Jeans takes us to their Revved Up for Kids car charity.
The Revved Up for Kids fundraiser attracted more than 500 show-quality cars and a few star cars you may recognize from your favorite movies. This annual event is a car lover's dream. It's not every day you can walk down the street and see cars parked like this. 7 years ago, Christy Edelbrock created this event to support the Center for Learning Unlimited, or CFLU. CFLU Director Jenny Matthews credits the fundraiser with helping to save the school. It has raised more than $600,000, all benefiting the CFLU.
what they do to these, for these kids and their families is just second to none. And being able to give back within our local community is just something that's I'm very passionate about.
With a focus on supporting children, the event also hosts the Hot Rodders of Tomorrow Engine Challenge. Several high school teams compete to see who can assemble car engines the fastest.
The youth in this country are very important to us, and we want to keep them channeled in the right direction.
Several car industry legends were also there, including Batmobile creator George Barris and custom car builder Gene Winfield.
I love doing things for kids, and so we're doing everything we can to support the event.
For This Week in Torrance, I'm Jay-Z Jeans.
Thanks, Jay-Z. For more information, visit revved4kids.com. Another family event happening in Torrance brought out fire trucks and chili. Reporter Maudette Lewis explains.
Old Festival Day is a charity fundraiser to benefit the South Bay Police and Fire Memorial Foundation and the Torrance Relay for Life. This is the 100th anniversary for the Torrance Fire Department, and they wanted to celebrate with the public. The department also paid tribute to fallen fighters.
We'd like to acknowledge the 4 firefighters who've made the ultimate sacrifice for the city by giving their lives in the line of duty.
A bagpipe player and honor guard marched down El Prado in remembrance of the fallen fighters. The event included tours of new and vintage fire trucks, carnival games, and a silent auction. A chili cook-off was a fan favorite where guests could taste and judge chili by Kitchen Stadium chefs.
That's the best chili I've ever had.
Guests danced to the classic rock band The Retros, who are a favorite in the South Bay. For This Week in Torrance, I'm Maudette Lewis.
Thanks, Maudette. The festival was free, and carnival games and chili tastings only cost $1. Sounds like a deal. Downtown Torrance isn't very far from the Madrona Marsh. Volunteers recently made a donation to the marsh that will enhance an already prime spot.
It's our pleasure to work with the Madrona Marsh. We dedicate this bench.
Doug Smith of the Torrance Marriott says the Madrona Marsh receives the majority of their community service commitment. Marriott employees help restore the marsh once a month by pruning, weeding, and planting indigenous plants. Tracy Drake praised the volunteers for being the most consistent organization they work with at the marsh. Switzer Center recently honored their Women of the Year, one of whom is closely associated with the Torrance Marriott. Pam Ryan, general manager of the Torrance Marriott, was one of the 4 women honored by the Switzer Learning Center. Heidi Ashcraft, Lisa Montez, and Carrie Gilbert were also recognized as Women of the Year. Switzer director Rebecca Fu reminded the audience about the honorees' commitment to the community through their regular volunteer work. Well, the South Bay Junior Women's Club made even better than good on a recent promise. Thanks to the group's recent fundraising, a total of $10,000 in scholarships was given out to the students. With the help of local businesses and friends, the organization's recent fashion show exceeded expectations. More than 180 people attended, making it a success, not only for the group, but for scholarship recipients. The club was able to double their original number of scholarships from 4 to 8.
The criteria was based on their academic accomplishments.
Each student will receive a scholarship of more than $1,200. And all eyes were on some hot new wheels in Torrance. People were packed at the rafters at American Honda. They were all here to see 2 new Acura models, the RLX flagship sedan and the NSX Concept Super Sports car. Fans of the Acura brand were wowed by the cars, which both debuted earlier this year at the North American Auto Show. The super sports cars will be developed and manufactured here in the U.S., and both the RLX sedan and the NSX sports cars are hybrids. As concept cars, Acura will use aspects of these models for developing similar cars in the future. Coming up, you'll meet a man who's dreamed big for himself, and now he's teaching others to dream even bigger. And we'll tell you why the police department was knocking on doors in North Torrance.
I love the concept of mentoring because you're really able to make a difference in the life of one young person.
My mentor is a role model for me. She told me about all the opportunities that there is in life.
She has transformed into an amazing young woman, and I feel so fortunate to be a part of that. I think a mentor can really open the eyes of a young person to all the possibilities that are out there for them if they just go after their dreams.
So get involved and do your part. Invest in the future. Mentor a child.
Students at Magruder Middle School had a chance to meet someone most people only read about in science books, an astronaut. From that meeting, reporter TK Trinidad tells us how these students learned that reaching for the stars is possible.
Houston, now controlling. Houston, shuttle, roll program. Roger, roll maneuver.
Students were leaning forward and hanging on to his every word. Dr. Bernard Harris, the first black astronaut to walk in space, is on a new mission to inspire kids. He wants them to consider science, technology, engineering, and math, also known as STEM, as a career.
Dream Tour program is all about STEM, science, technology, and mathematics, because we're in the 21st century where technology drives everything that we do. So it's important that the kids are educated in those fields.
Along with the Dream Tour, the I-League program at Magruder Middle School encourages students who don't see college as an option now as a viable choice.
The I-League program helped me to get more how to get into college and how to prepare to actually learn how to get in.
Students like Perla Gonzalez, who wasn't doing well in school last year, is improving because of the I-League program, and now she dreams of becoming an architect.
My grades have gone up a lot because I wasn't trying so hard, but then now I am, because I realized because of this program that school is one of the most important things that there is, and your education is extremely important.
Along with inspiring kids, Dr. Harris told us the most interesting questions students ask.
It really comes in three questions, so I can put it that way. The first question deals with what it's like. The second question deals with aliens. Everybody, for some reason, is just enamored with the idea that there's life out there. The third question deals with life up there. You know, how do you eat? How do you go to the bathroom?
Magruder principal Michael Voigt believes that the Dream Tour and the I-League program are the best ways for kids to see beyond today.
College is an option for everyone, and I think the first steps are creating those goals or creating those visions or dreams that they have.
Dr. Harris says that there is a huge benefit in pursuing a STEM career.
It's important that they go to college, that they get some type of education. And if they go to college in one of the STEM fields, they actually will get paid more than they would otherwise.
Dr. Bernard Harris has been with the Dream Team since 2008 and has had an impact on more than 60,000 students worldwide, encouraging them to pursue their dreams despite any adversity. For This Week in Torrance, I'm TK Trinidad.
Thanks, TK. The Dream Tour is sponsored by ExxonMobil. For more information, visit daring2dream.org. A recent spike in burglaries has Torrance PD going back to an old-fashioned method of crime fighting. Reporter Ella Sagamonian explains.
So we're going to go down here, we're going to miss the first street to the second and then make a left. Okay.
Beam Antico and Jillian Zally are among the 45 volunteers distributing flyers in North Torrance. The area has recently fallen prey to increased burglaries, and the police department wants to raise awareness.
We feel that we reach a good majority of our community through traditional means, meaning local CitiCABLE 3, the print media and network media as well, and also our social media. But we feel that we're not hitting everybody. So the only guaranteed method to contact and have interaction with every citizen is actually go door to door, go a little old school.
Although the police department relies on social media for community outreach, a good old-fashioned knock on the door is often the only way to provide information for those residents who don't have access to the internet.
A lot of people don't have the internet, so yeah, it's nice to have the person-to-person.
Each flyer explains something different and educates residents on how to prevent this crime by recognizing some bold moves used by burglars. People tend to associate crime with the nighttime, but here in North Torrance, criminals are getting creative and even knocking on doors in broad daylight.
the resident is distracted, maybe into their backyard by somebody saying they're with an electric company or a utility company, while somebody else goes in the front door and burglarizes them while they're distracted in the backyard.
When someone comes to the door, they think they're supposed to open it, and they don't have to. I think that's the most important thing to remember is you can say, hey, I'll give a call to the water department and find out if you're supposed to be scheduled here. It's okay, you know, to do that.
Even without a flyer, remember, you don't have to open the door to an unexpected service employee. Keep your doors locked, don't leave attractive items in your car, and when in doubt, call the police. For Torrance City Cable, I'm Ella Sogomonian.
For more information, visit torranceca.gov/TPD. Coming up, we'll have two in-studio guests to tell us about the upcoming Armed Forces Parade celebration.
This neighborhood sure has changed a lot over the years. You know, there was a time when people like me couldn't live here. I will never forget being told I wasn't welcome in this neighborhood. Well, I own this building now. The Fair Housing Act made a difference for someone like me, so I can choose where I want to live, free from discrimination. Glad you could make it. Right this way.
Armed Forces Day weekend is just around the corner. The United States Air Force is the featured branch this year. To tell us more about what we can expect are our guests, Captain Peter Cunningham from the U.S. Air Force and Lieutenant Steve DeAngio from the Torrance Police Department. Thank you both for joining us. I feel well protected. We've got the Police Department and the Air Force here. What? Say, are you excited about coming? This is your first time. What equipment can we expect to see from you guys this year?
Yes, sir. Very excited to participate in this event. We're going to first off have a flyby. We have a 4 ship of F-16s, I think, from the Fresno Air Guard that are going to be there. So everyone should be pretty excited to see that. And we'll have, I think, about 12 exhibits from the Air Force, ranging from different satellite directorates from the Space and Missile Systems Center. We'll have some sharp young men and women telling you about what they do to support our country there. And one of the exhibits I'm specifically excited about is we have the Batman exhibit coming from Wright Pat Air Force Base. This is an exhibit where it's like a uniform that typically we like to put all kinds of stuff and hang all kinds of stuff off our special forces, all new gadgets and everything, but this uniform actually integrates it and makes it all work as one system. So we're pretty excited to have that there, and I think everybody will enjoy that exhibit.
Just curious, this is your first time to be here, Captain. What have you heard about this Armed Forces Day Parade?
I heard it's quite the event.
Yeah.
You know, thousands of people. You know, World War II vets out there. I don't know if Mr. Zamperini is gonna be there this year or not, but quite the event, and I'm really excited to be there.
And Steve DeAngio, you guys start preparing. What you started preparing last year, right?
We never stop preparing.
Yeah.
We usually start our in-house meetings about September, October time frame, and start meeting monthly with our military reps beginning in January.
Why do you think, Lieutenant, this is such a great deal for the city of Torrance?
Because it just shows how patriotic the citizens of the city of Torrance are. It really is an opportunity to highlight us, not as a city, but it gives us an opportunity to say thank you to the men and women of the armed forces for keeping us safe. They're responsible for allowing us to be who we are. Without them keeping us safe, we wouldn't even be able to be a city of Torrance.
Now, traffic is always an issue at this event. We get hundreds of thousands of people show up. I mean, lots of folks. What can we expect this year traffic-wise?
Traffic's going to be tough like it is every year for the Armed Forces Day Parade. We're suggesting that people driving in use alternate routes. They really use Hawthorne Boulevard, use Western Avenue. We have put out a press release with all the alternate routes. It's also on the City of Torrance's Armed Forces website. We'll be sending out a Nixle message to everybody on Thursday afternoon, reminding them of the routes. And this year, for the first year, we're actually going to have valet bicycle parking at the City Hall. So anybody that lives close by that wants to ride their bike, they can come down free of charge, have it valet parked for them. Avoid all that traffic.
Captain, why do you think this is important for you guys to be a part of this?
Well, I know the LT just said you know, they want to thank us and give back to the military, but I think it's an opportunity for us to thank the community. We've been very fortunate over the last 20, 30 years to have just significant support from the community. We live among you right here. LA Air Force Base, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, all have different detachments that are around this area. So just to come out and say thank you and you know, show our appreciation for honoring us this way. I think it's outstanding.
And how many Air Force members will show up?
We've got 2 formations. One from SMC, Space and Missile Systems Center, is going to be 150-man formation. We got one from Edwards Air Force Base out in the high desert. That's going to be a 150-man formation. We also have another formation from Vandenberg, some ROTC. So I would say in aggregate we're talking about 400 to 500 people from the Air Force that will be representing that weekend.
And what's the number we're expecting this year, Lieutenant?
Participants or observers?
Number of heads. How many are we expecting?
Well, we generally have about 100,000 people as spectators for the parade. We're going to have a couple thousand military personnel involved in the parade or the exhibit sites, and then we'll have a bunch of civilian applicants also going through there. It's one thing to keep in mind is that we're not just having a parade. This is a 3-day event. The exhibit site will be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have events throughout the whole time.
Well, it promises to be an exciting time. Thank you so much, Captain, for joining us. Lieutenant, thank you very much. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us, and we want it to be a tremendous success. It's the 53rd Annual Armed Forces Day Parade. It's happening right here in Torrance, and as the Lieutenant just said, it's not just the 19th, but the whole weekend. And you can check out the city's website at torranceca.gov. That's torranceca.gov for all the details on this humongous event. Coming up, on top of all the events happening during Armed Forces Day celebration, you may get lucky and win a flight in one of these warbirds. We'll bring you the details right after the break. Don't go away.
I'm Gary Sinise. I've had the great privilege of meeting and working with many of our country's heroes, our veterans, and heard their stories. But for the 58,272 names on the Vietnam Wall, their stories will never be shared. Help us change that. The Education Center at the Wall will put faces to the names, displaying photos, letters, and mementos of those who served, so their stories will never be forgotten. Visit buildthecenter.org and help us build it.
And finally, seeing vintage warcraft as part of the Armed Forces Day celebrations appeal, reporter Alexa Sita tells us about some old warbirds that are still in flight thanks to some dedicated pilots.
What you may notice first is how small the interior is. This North American T-6 Texan is a trainer plane that was used in World War II. Today, it's part of the Condor Squadron. These planes were for advanced pilots. Flying them would prepare soldiers for the much larger planes they would fly in battle. After the war ended, these old planes were often assigned to the National Guard for training purposes. In 1965, members of the 146th Fighter Group formed the Condor Squadron as a search and rescue unit of the Civil Air Patrol. When they're in flight, these planes are majestic. When they're grounded, they make their home at Van Nuys Airport. And today, with 10 planes, the Condor Squadron honors the memory of veterans through their flybys at memorials and parades, like the Armed Forces Day Parade here in Torrance.
I feel like that's why we're here. We want to give back to the public what we are honored to do.
For Torrance CitiCABLE, I'm Alexa Sita.
Thanks, Alexa. The Condor Squadron and the Western Museum of Flight is offering an exciting opportunity to Torrance residents. Make a $10 donation to the Western Museum of Flight and you'll be entered in an opportunity drawing that could score you a ride with the Condor Squadron during the parade. You can make as many donations as you like. For more information, visit WMOF.com. And that's going to do it for us on This Week in Torrance. I'm Ben McCain. If you've missed any portion of our show, you can catch us again at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.